Hi Friendzonies, what's up? Thanks for tuning back into another Keeping It Real with Danie Steele. So I wanted to come with you. So I wanted to make another quick. Why are you?
Said I wanted to come with you. And I was done. Sorry. I'm getting to you. Sorry, I won't interrupt you.
Okay. As you know, watching my other videos, I do like to watch Dr. Phil. I also watch some other shows. I don't watch too much TV, but I do like to watch Ayala Van Sant because I think she is very inspirational and knowledgeable on healing in particular. And there was something that she said in the episode with Neffy about Nefertiri, Keisha Cole's sister, about you cannot heal what you do not speak. And I think that that is so true of especially people who've been through trauma, and especially the Black community, because we have experienced so much trauma. And I was talking about this with a good friend of mine who I also feel like is very smart and knowledgeable and does a lot of thinking. I like people that do a lot of thinking. And, we were talking about like how we just don't even feel comfortable talking to people who aren't introspective. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like most people are that way, which is very sad. They don't do a lot of thinking, even if you haven't been through trauma. Most people don't question things, question what they've been initially told or taught throughout their lives. A lot of people will talk about racism, for example, and they'll be like, well, you were mean to me and I'm a different race than you, therefore you're being racist to me. Anyone who has some knowledge knows that you can't compare someone being mean to you to sustained systemic racism. So racism is sustained, is systemic, and that's not the same as someone who's just been mean to you. Well, the same is true in terms of, especially like I said, in the Black community. There's been so much trauma, and people just keep going. Now, it's important to move on with your life and not let stuff get you down. But if you haven't spoke your pain, your truth, spoken truth to the trauma that you've experienced, then you're really missing a step, in terms of moving on. So you can say that you've moved on from something that you've experienced because you don't talk about it or you don't think about it. But if you haven't spoken about it, if you haven't thought about it, then chances are you are still thinking about it. Whether you realize it or not, it's still affecting your life. And I don't trust people who don't understand that, and who don't understand that it's important to acknowledge what you've been through. I've actually had people tell me in real life, once again, IRL, in real life, that like I think that I'm better because I've had, I guess, traumatic experiences that I'm not afraid to speak on. So I must think that I'm better than people who haven't. No, I don't think I'm better than people who haven't, but I do think that I'm elevating myself by acknowledging what I've been through and not just simply saying, well, I've moved on, without the acknowledgement. The acknowledgement is very important. So, there's a lot, especially with, I've talked about this before in previous videos, the 80s babies, the African American community, how we were affected by the crack cocaine epidemic, by the epidemic of Black people being put in prisons and filling the prisons, how we were affected by that. And there was so much trauma, obviously, well before that. And it's important to acknowledge what you've been through so that you can truly move forward, not just in some, well, I move forward because I don't talk about it. That doesn't make you smart. That doesn't make you better than someone who does talk about what they've been through and acknowledges the pain or trauma that they've experienced. That makes you actually weak to never talk about it, because it's still there. It's going to be in your psyche. It's going to be something that you deal with at least on a subconscious level, and that you will bring out in your discussions with other people when it's not even relevant if you haven't learned to address it for yourself. You know, I know she got a little real in this episode, but you know, I would really encourage everyone who's been through trauma to speak to somebody about it. Find someone to speak to, a therapist, a friend, a family member. I know that I've called out family members. I have no problem doing that. You know, on just wanting to have acknowledgement of the things that have happened. There's some people that I won't talk to about traumatic experiences, things that have happened, because I don't feel like there's going to be any growth there for me. But if I feel like I can get some growth from it, I don't care if you're ready for it or not, I'm going to have the conversation that needs to be had. So I would just encourage anyone going through a traumatic experience or feeling like they've had a painful past to really look inside yourself, figure out what it is that's hurting you, that's still hurting you, that you don't talk about or can't talk about, and talk about it with someone. Talk about it with a friend, talk about it with a family member, talk about it with a therapist, but definitely talk about it. Maya Angelou says, speak it, never stop speaking it. It's not wrong to speak about things that have happened, because that helps to break the cycles of abuse. That helps to break the cycles of addiction. That helps to break cycles of domestic violence. When I was growing up, I really believed that, you know, people will say, well, you know, domestic violence can happen to anyone. Unfortunately, I've experienced it for myself. Assault can happen to anyone. But in terms of me being in a relationship with you, certainly after an experience, no, I don't have to be in a relationship with somebody that hurts me. I don't have to maintain a relationship with someone who is violent and hasn't worked on their own shit. That doesn't have to happen. So we really need to speak truth to our experiences. And I hope that you find the courage to do that. And I hope that more people teach, you know, their younger ones to do that, because that's what's going to help us to heal. That's what's going to help us to truly move forward. Not ignoring it and saying that you've moved on, but truly acknowledging it, speaking truth to it, and that will help you to move on. So that's it. That's all I want to say today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you next video. Bye, you guys.